Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first webinar of our webinar series for the hashtag weBVolume contest. Really excited for the content tonight and the content that we've planned out for the next 12 weeks and to see what everybody does with this. If you've done a fast track with the Web Center program in the past, you know that it's all about consistency. It's all about staying engaged. It's about not falling off the train and just little tiny efforts every single day, compounding to create big results. That's what the fast track was founded on, and that's what this contest is founded on. So I'm really excited for what we can do together for each other's businesses, for our own businesses, and the businesses of the people in our group. If you know anybody that actually did register for this contest and didn't register for the webinar series, please feel free to pass along the registration link and make sure that they're getting this information. Also, if you go to weBVolumecontest.com and if you click on the webinar page, you will see the link there as well. All right, so let's get started. Let's talk about how what to expect this week and what to expect in general. So first of all, I want to give you an expectation for how these webinars are going to be structured. We're going to try and keep them to about 30 minutes so that it's not a huge, part of your week where you're going to be dedicating to just listening. I'd rather give you one or two things that you can implement over the week and actually, apply to your week rather than tons and tons of information that you're not sure where to start. So again, we're going to try to keep it to about 30 minutes. Then next for today, we're going to talk about goal setting and some things that I've been doing in my team that have really made a difference in people and how they approach what their goals are and make them more realistic. We're going to talk about 312, lead generation, conversational marketing, and some reminders and announcements. So let's get right into it because like I said, we want to keep it to 30 minutes. Today may go over just a little bit only because there are a few more details just regarding your daily activities and resources, etc., that are going to take up more time than just the typical training topics. So so we'll, like I said, most of the time they'll be 30 minutes, but today may go over just a little bit. So the webinars are going to be structured as followed. The first thing that we're going to do every single week is we're going to share the results, and we're going to share a small analysis of what the results were, because I want you to see as a group how we're performing. Are we setting a lot of appointments? Are those appointments being completed? Are people making a lot of sales? And if so, what's working? And, so we're going to talk a lot about the results as a group. From there, we're going to talk through a pre-planned topic. So I'm going to share what those topics are with you in just a second. But every single week, we do have dedicated about 10 to 15 minutes to talk about something or some technique that is really working well in the field. Then after that, we're going to follow up with a topic that's based on questions, challenges, and or successes from the previous week as a group. So one of the cool things about our summary report that you submit every week is that we have a section where you can submit comments. Also, we have a Facebook group and email communication. And whenever I see something that's happening often, or an objection that people are getting a lot of, or roadblocks or whatever, then that tells me that that's something that we should be talking about from a bigger standpoint. So we'll make sure to address any training topics or any challenges, objections, or any things that are really working that maybe we weren't planning on talking about. If something's working really well, then we're going to talk about it. And so I love that. I love that the third section of the webinar is going to be dedicated to something that's happening now. And I think that's a really nice pairing with the pre-planned topics. Followed by that will be a question and answer session. Please just keep in mind that all of these webinars are recorded. And so we are recording right now, and that any successful recordings, which is the vast majority of them, and a PDF copy of the presentation will be made available at the weBVolumecontest.com website. If you click on webinars and support, starting tomorrow, you'll be able to rewatch this video and you'll be able to download a copy of this presentation. Also, question and answer sessions will not be recorded. So, the best way to guarantee that you're going to get the content and the information to illustrate the slides is to be present on the live webinar as they happen and as they occur. And the only way to listen in on the question and answer sessions is to, again, be present during the live session. So, That's just something that we've stuck with that works really well. And it, as human beings, if we have an incentive to show up on a weekly basis to the live session, that's just better for us. Because if you're like me and like most people, and if you just say, oh, I'll watch that tomorrow, life happens and you forget to watch it and you miss out on very valuable information that could really impact your week. So these are just things that we put into place to make this function better. All right, so take a look. Again, you're going to get a copy of this tomorrow, but these are the pre-planned topics for the webinars. So this week is more about the fundamentals of the Web Center program because we need to start there. Next week, we're going to talk about contractor season and home show season and how to look for advertisements of different contractors in your area and how to use a two-call approach to warm up these leads that you don't really know. Just because right now, I don't know about you guys, but where we live and where a lot of people live actually, especially on the East Coast, contractors are in a mad rush to get all their advertising and their name out there done right now because they're heading into their busy season. From there, we're going to go week 3. We're going to pick an industry. We're going to talk about familiarizing yourself with an industry that you're already familiar with or one that you plan to get into, how to expand your network and prospect within a specific industry. Then we're going to move into organizations and not-for-profits. There's a huge misconception that churches and not-for-profit organizations and temples that they don't have money when in reality they have huge endowments. The process is definitely a little bit different to prospect for website sales inside of organizations because typically it's not just one person making a decision. Typically, it's an entire board or committee that makes a decision. So yeah, the process is a little bit different and actually can be a little bit lengthy, but it's totally worth it, and the referrals are worth it as well. In week 5, by that time, you should have a lot of stuff in the bucket where you want to be following up. So we're going to talk about some successful follow-up strategies, organization, maybe how to leverage the competition to create urgency, specifics on how to be an effective follow-up person. And week 6 is going to be the week right before Good Friday, Easter, and all of that yummy stuff. So we're going to talk about how to leverage the holidays to actually create interest and create urgency rather than just take a week off, right? And then we're also going to do a halfway point assessment there. We're going to give you a little test to give yourself an assessment, see how you're doing, and plan how the second half of this contest is going to go for you. In week 7, we're going to talk about the art of passive prospecting because by this point, you've had 6 weeks of talking to prospects, and you should be a little bit bulletproof at this point. You should have some real backbone and be able to just, bring it up wherever you are, right? In week 8, we're going to talk about social media prospecting with different successful best practices for that, personal pages versus business pages, deciding what's right for you. In week 9, we're going to talk about different tools and resources that you can use to support your prospecting, whether it's the email marketing system you get with your web center or videos or the flash drive or different images that you can share, brochures, etc. In week 10, we're going to talk about referrals. How do you run a good referral campaign? What is the psychology behind giving referrals? Why do people give referrals? And once you understand that, how can that affect how you go about looking to give and receive referrals, right? In week 11, we're going to talk about mixing majors, how you can work together with people in your group, your business partners, to create more website sales and build more share of customer with MA branded products. We're also going to talk about shop.com here a lot. And then in week 12, that will be our final webinar. It will technically be the Monday after the contest ends, but we're going to talk about how you can continue to build off the momentum that you just put into place. Because guys, if you do this right, if you do the very bare minimum activity that we're going to recommend for you, you can create what we love to call a profitable mess, where you have so much stuff going on that you don't know how to keep up. And that's a real good problem to have. I could wake up and eat that problem for breakfast any day. So, that's kind of the goal that I have for you. And I hope that you'll stay on board so that you can enjoy this profitable mess that we're going to create. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk about goal setting. So, the guide that I'm showing you right here is available to download at mawc411.com /getting started, getting_started.jsp. It's right down here. It looks like this, but we're going to break it down a little bit differently tonight on our webinar. But the first thing is first, and that never changes, right? You need to first identify why you're doing this. This is very important. Now, this is a contest structure. So I know one of the reasons you're doing this is because you're awesome and you want to compete and you want to win. That's great. But I want you to be more specific than that. Exactly what is the reason that you're building your business at all? And don't be afraid to really think through this. And I challenge you to do this for homework tonight before you go to bed. It shouldn't even take you that long, but it's very, very critical because let me tell you, this is not going to be a convenient thing. Even though you can knock out the daily activities in 15 minutes a day, it's uncomfortable for some people, right? And a lot of us work all day long. I mean, I work remotely for the company right now, and we're working on a ton of awesome projects that I'm just so thrilled to be working on. And I'm so thrilled to be working on them that I very often work a lot more than I'm supposed to, and that's by choice. But at the end of the day, if I didn't schedule in my 15 minutes to prospect for a website sale or to prospect for my business, then what did I do for my own business that day, right? It's not convenient. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to pick up the phone. And, if you have a real good reason why, that will help you to overcome those feelings, those emotions that will get in your way. Now, for me, it was a totally different reason why 8 years ago when I started my business than it is right now. And so you need to be aware of that because your reason why probably has changed as well. Or if you're brand new, have you even thought about this, right? Because success is not convenient. And if there's not a big enough reason why you're doing this, then you will not be inconvenienced to do the daily tasks. I promise you that. Also, you need to motivate yourself when you're successful because the process works. And like I said, if you guys just do the bare minimums, statistically, you're going to be on track to sell 1 to 2 websites a month, to be personally sponsoring 3 to 4 people per quarter, and really, really exploiting your business. So, you know what happens the first time you make a big sale and you get a check or a direct deposit for $1,000 or more into your account? Some people will take that as a reason to slow down, and they'll just say, "Oh, that was great. I'm going to reward myself with a couple of days off." And then you kill your momentum. Again, if your reason for the big picture is big enough, you won't slow down. You won't let anything stop you, right? You're going to keep building on the momentum and not let, the small successes get in the way of continuing to build. Those things you definitely want to congratulate yourself for, and you should be proud of those things, but they shouldn't be a reason why you stop building. All right, so that's one thing that I'm challenging everybody to do tonight, if not by the end of tomorrow. All right, so from there, I want everybody to get very specific about what your income goal is from May 18th, 2014, and May 18th is the last day of the contest, which is why I picked that date. And what are your website sales goals for May 18th? And here's how we're going to break it down. All right, so the income goal we're going to break down in terms of the management performance compensation plan, or BV, your ongoing stuff. So one of the things we do with our team is we don't want people to just say, when do you want to hit coordinator? We ask the question, when do you want to be earning $300 a month, right? And those are two totally different things. Hitting coordinator is great, but when will you be earning $300 per month, right? So to keep it simple, because a lot of people that are registered for the contest are new, or a lot of you probably have people in your team that you want to do this activity with or this exercise with, we're going to keep it that simple. Let's say you're a brand new distributor and your goal date is May 18th. That's a total of 11 weeks, right? Your income goal is $300 per month. This is what we want to get you to. From maybe you're making $300 every 12 weeks right now, or maybe you're making no money right now and you're brand new and you have an entire asset to start building. That's fine. Let's just say that your goal date is the 18th of May and that your income goal is $300 per month. On the right-hand side here, you're going to keep these things in mind when you're making out and mapping out your plan, or what your personal goal is for activity and production. So obviously, with the concept of base 10-7 strong, the goal is to have every distributor producing a total of 400 BV per month, right? That's the plan. But in reality, the average distributor produces more like 250 BV per month. So I love to underestimate, over deliver. So, I'm just going to use that 250 as a guideline, saying, look, this is what the average distributor is doing. And do I want them to do more? Yes. Am I going to do everything I can to train them to do more? Absolutely. But for the purposes of my math and my action plan, I'm going to base my goals off of that average. So the average distributor produces 250 BV per month. If you show 4 plans then the statistics show that at least one will start their business, right? So 1 out of 4 plans should yield you a brand new business partner. Now remember this too, when you're coming up with, again, we're not talking about when do you want to hit your first $300, we're saying when do you want to make $300 a month, right? So remember that the 4th check of our pay cycle is not a 1,200 BV jump on each side, right? It's a 1,400 BV jump, right? You go from doing 12 and 12 to 24 and 24 to 36 and 36 to 5,000 and 5,000. So when you're planning out, how much BV per month you want to be generating, and you're talking about something like $300 per month, then what you really want to be thinking about is making 1,250 BV per month, not 1,200. I know that it only takes 1,200 BV on each side to make a $300 check, but again, in that 4th month, for that cycle to repeat, you want to make sure that you're getting enough volume in your center, right? So another quick little thing to keep in mind is that GBV stands for group business volume. This is not business volume that you're generating on your own, it's group business volume. And also that when we plan for how many plans you're going to show, those can be plans that you show personally and plans that you show in your group. This just has to do with your business growing, your entire business, okay? So looking at this again, and again, you're going to have a copy of this so you can review it and you can map it out your way. Your income goal is $300 per month. So the group business volume needed to achieve $300 per month is 1,250 BV on the left and 1,250 BV on the right every single month. That's what your business needs to do, right? So that's a total of 2,500 BV every single month that your whole business needs to be generating. So how many distributors producing 250 BV do you need to make 1,250? Well, the answer is 5 because, I wrote the wrong thing there. Let's see, hold on. 5 times, yep. Nope, that was correct. I broke it down on the bigger level. I apologize. So 5 people on the left, 5 people on the right. That equals a total of 10 people times 250 BV per month equals a total of 2,500 BV, which is exactly what you need to produce to earn $300 a month. So in order to grow your business by 10 people, right? If that's what your goal is by May 18th, how can your entire business duplicate to be 10 people more? Then you need to show 40 plans. And the reason why is because 10 people times 4 is 40. Why are we showing 40 instead of 10? Because if you show 4 plans, then the average is that 1 will start. So again, you want to use this to come up with your math. So how many plans per week should you be showing? Well, if your total is 40 plans that you need to show, and you have 11 weeks to show 40 plans, then you should be showing anywhere from 3 to 4 plans per week, because 40 plans divided by 11 weeks is 3.63, and you can't show 0.63 of a plan, so shoot for 3 to 4, okay? So again, you can go over this math again in when you get the download tomorrow morning, and I'm also going to post this PDF in our Facebook group right away. But I highly encourage you guys to be real specific with mapping out your income goals over the next 11 weeks, because I want you to hit PIN levels. I want you to hit a new income level. I want you guys making money. And the only way to do that is to be real clear and real transparent about how you're going to do that. So what you want to do is look on the left-hand side, and you can fill this out your own. So what is your goal date? May 18th. How many weeks is that? That's still 11. What is your personal income goal? How much group business volume is needed? Figure it out. How many distributors doing 250 BV do you need? Figure that out. So how many plans do you need to show to expand to hit that? Great. How many plans per week does that turn out to? Now, let's say that you are brand new and you said you want to be making $1,800 a month. And in reality, that was 10 times the amount of work than you wanted to or were willing to or able to commit. That's fine. You either need to adjust your goal date or you need to adjust what your income goal is to reflect the kind of hours and the kind of work that you're willing and able to put in. But this is the facts, right? These are the averages. These are the statistics. So you want to go with this. All right, what about website sales, right? Let's talk about retail goal mapping, right? So things to keep in mind when you're coming up with this. The average retail profit is $1,000, right? That's great. So keeping that in mind. 1 out of 3 qualified appointments will end in a sale. All right. What is a qualified appointment? A qualified appointment is an appointment that has all decision makers present and that they're people that are truly in the market. Meaning, if you just get your cousin to hop on a call with a product specialist, that doesn't count as one of your 3 qualified appointments, right? Or as a qualified appointment. Or if you only get one decision maker on the phone, that's not a qualified appointment. A qualified appointment is someone that you've had a real conversation with, that you've identified a need that needs to be filled and gotten an appointment. Now, no, I think we can help anybody, and I'm pretty sure that once we get them on the appointment, that we can answer their questions and help fill their need. But the truth is that when you've asked a couple of questions and you have a qualified prospect, 1 out of 3 will end in a sale. Please also keep in mind that most of the sales, and listen, we've got a really talented sales team, and we do see one call closes is what we call it, where somebody has their very, very first appointment and they buy the website on the spot. In fact, my first sale was a one call close, but most sales happen on the second or the third follow-up. So that follow-up can be done by the product specialist and or it can be done by you. Just keep that stuff in mind as you're going through this and mapping out your goals. So I did the same kind of setup here. A goal date, the number of weeks, what is your retail goal, the sales that were needed, how many qualified appointments did you need, and how many appointments per week should you personally be aiming for? Because your goal and my goal are probably 2 totally different things, right? So the goal date, again, May 18th, that's a total of 11 weeks. Let's say your retail goal was $2,500. With the average website profit being $1,000, that means you need at least 3 website sales statistically to reach your retail goal. Because if you only sold 2, you would only make $2,000 if you were earning the average retail profit. So, again, underestimate, over deliver. Right? So you need 3 sales, and you'll have more than the $2,500 most likely, right? The qualified appointments needed would be 9. So if you need a total of 9 qualified appointments to make 3 sales, and you have 11 weeks, and all you have to be shooting for is 1 website appointment per week, it's really, really that simple. And in fact, if you're shooting for 1 website appointment per week and you hit that, then you might even sell 4 websites over the period, right, of time. So, get real specific with these goals, guys. Figure out the action it's going to take behind, what it is that you want. So again, if you look at this goal setting page, it asks you to define that reason why. It asks you to decide what kind of short-term goals you have. What do they cost? For example, if you want to go on a vacation, is that going to cost you $3,000 or $5,000? If you want to get a credit card paid off, is that going to cost you $1,000? Figure out exactly what it is that you want to pay for, and then you're going to use this math to figure out what you need to do. Right? So again, everybody's competing to do what they want so that they can win. But if you can be more specific, I guarantee you're going to work harder. I guarantee it. So let's talk about your daily activities. So if you look on the right-hand side, that's all we're going to talk about today. It's called 312, right? It's really, really simple. This is just personal activity every single day in 15 minutes or less. Sometimes it could take you a few minutes more, but most people can knock 312 out in 15 minutes or less. So every single day, you're going to talk to 3 people, right? Whether there are people on your list to talk about for a possible website sale or to show the business opportunity about shop.com. It could be about an upcoming event that you're promoting, a wellness event or whatever. Or it could be someone that you're just really thinking could be a great source of leads or a great potential business partner that you haven't talked to in a while, but you need to kind of recultivate that relationship before you feel comfortable, talking about business. And that's normal, right? That's just socially normal stuff. So every single day you're going to talk to 3 people. Now, I get these questions all the time. Well, if I talk to the same person 3 times, does that count as 3 contacts? And I say, look, that's your choice. For me personally, no, it wouldn't. But that's just my standard that I hold myself to, right? So if I were you, I would try to talk to 3 new people a day. And if you have other people that you have to follow up with, I would count those as additional contacts, right? I wouldn't count that as your 3 new because, again, you don't want to throw all your eggs in one basket and just, you want to put yourself on a track where you're going to have enough numbers to work with, enough people to work with, that you have results popping through at any given time. Okay, so out of those 3 contacts, your goal is to book 1 appointment. Now, that appointment could be with sales support to sell a website, It could be for someone to see the plant. It could be to have coffee. It could be whatever it is. It's just the goal is one appointment per day. Now, remember, with our example for website sales, you want to shoot for at least one website appointment a week. That's what I think everybody's goal should be, right? So the other 4 days that you're talking to people, your appointments should be geared toward building your business, showing plans, selling products, selling events, selling tickets, that kind of stuff, right? Now, every day you're also going to add 2 names to your names list. Now, I would recommend that you add 2 for the business and 2 for your product, which is a website candidate, right? And the reason is because if you don't do that, I promise you're going to run out of names at the end of this month. So, I mean, if you saw the topics that we're talking about, I'm going to give you a lot of ways to expand your names list. You just have to actually do the work so that you can do it. It's just like JR said, right? Information plus application equals transformation. So I can give you ways to expand your network all day long until I'm blue in the face, but unless you do it, your names list is not getting any bigger, right? So make sure you do the work. You want to have 1 day a week where you're showing the plan, either personally or at the UBP or an HBP, and you want to remain accountable. Now, you can choose to pair up with someone and be accountable to each other, or you could be accountable to the Facebook group. Either way is totally fine. I recommend that you stay organized. A lot of people will tell you if they've done a fast track or if they've done a 3-1-2 program that at the end of even just 2 weeks, if they haven't been writing everything down, they lose track and you leave money on the table because you forget to follow up. And it's normal because you're now working with big numbers, whereas before you may have only been talking to 1 or 2 people a month. Right? So you need to stay organized. This is a chart that we created. It's a momentum sheet that you can use for your own personal records. This is also available on the Getting Started tab for MAWC411.com. And it's just a simple tracking spreadsheet where you could just write people's names in or type people's names in and keep track. Whatever system works for you is fine. One little tip, though, is that regardless of if you use this chart or if you use your iPhone or whatever, I recommend that you label the contacts and the appointments that you're setting. Because, again, you're going to be working with big numbers and you're going to be expanding your network. So if you're looking back and you can't remember if Susie was a website prospect or a shop.com prospect or whatever, then the follow-up is not going to be very effective. So, staying organized is very, very critical to how well you're going to do with your follow-up. So let's talk about the fundamentals, right? We're going to talk about lead generation, your candidate list. Now, we very briefly went through this we went into this in detail at the breakout at World Conference. Now, we're going to do a condensed version of that right now so that you can have a recap of warm market prospecting. By the way, this is the quickest, easiest, and most enjoyable way to prospect for website candidates, right? And even though we will be talking about how to prospect in cold markets later, we're going to be talking about how, if you see an advertisement on a van, what's a good way to approach them? Or, hey, if there's a restaurant in town that you really want to sell to because they don't have a website, but you don't know them, what's a good approach? Even if you're talking to people like that, your goal 100% of the time needs to be to build your warm network, right? So it needs to be to warm up the cold people in your cold network, right? Because you don't want to just treat people like a number. You need to treat people like people. And the second you stop doing that is the second you turn into, a telemarketer, which is not fun for you and it's not fun for the people that you're trying to talk to. So, there are ways to contact cold prospects that work really, really well. And it starts with being human. Okay, so building warm networks is most effective and it's most valuable for your business. That's what we're going to talk about. So I shared this with people at World Conference, and I'm sharing it with you right now. This was the week of World Conference, so obviously my names list looks different now, and I've actually closed almost everything on here already, but that's fine. That's besides the fact. Anyway, on the left-hand column, you see a list of industries that we see a lot of sales popping through. So there's a ton of industries that you can sell in. It's virtually limitless, but please take a look on the left-hand side and just see if any of those spark, a business that you either know or business that you do business with, or that someone that works for that business or whatever, right? Use that as a memory jogger. This is your warm contacts names list. This is also available on that Getting Started page of MAWC411.com. So it breaks your names list down into 5 categories. One is, who do you know that owns a business? Right? Do you know anybody that owns one? I knew a couple at that point. I knew Brian Jodwin, he owns Green Pro. Tom owns Murphy's. My friend Meg owns Nutmegs. And my brother-in-law just started a business called Floor to Ceiling. Great. By the way, don't try to contact these people because they all love me. They're all loyal to me. So don't even try it. All right. Who do you know that works for a business? My sister works for a gastro and like nutritional counseling practice. Who do you, and this is just a quick thing that I put together for the week of World Conference. And like I said, already closed it because warm markets work. Who do you know that that you do business with? Like, where do you go out to eat? So I wrote down a restaurant, my accountant, and I wrote down Anna's Dry Cleaning, who got my clothes ready for World Conference. Who do you know that's well connected? Well, the mayor's pretty well connected, and we just became acquainted with him, and so we wanted to set up a dinner date with him. And who do you want to get to know? So, I actually met the owner of this restaurant bar when I was out there celebrating a friend's birthday, and so I had been kind of wanting to get to know this the owner of this restaurant for a while, but no one would ever patch me through. So it was just interesting that the easier way to do that was to just go there and have a drink and order some appetizers. And now I actually knew the owner, who now I know owns a business and who bought a website from me, right? So this is the names list. Fill it out. That's a very critical component as well. People download these, and it's so funny. Like, I'll sit down and I'll say, okay, you ready to get started? Did you fill everything out? And they're like, yeah, I have everything ready. And then they show me their getting started guide, and it's just printed. I'm like, well, did you fill anything out? Did you write your goals? Did you write your prospects? Like, what are we going to start with? This is a business. This is like your inventory. People are your inventory. You need people. We need people to contact. Let's get to work, bro. So anyway, so make sure you fill this out. Next step is to do a little bit of research, because if you just quickly Google them or whatever, then you're going to be really excited to reach out to them, because once you see a website that isn't functioning the way you know it could be functioning, now you are excited to reach out to them because you know you can help them, right? You're going to be coming from a place of helping them rather than from a place of selling something to them. And that's psychologically very, very different, not only for yourself, but for them and how that information is received, right? Also, it's going to prepare you with some good questions and ways to start the conversation, where if you just picked up the phone and called someone on that list, out of the blue with nothing in your back pocket, first of all, that's real nerve-wracking. And second of all, it's you're not at all prepared for where that conversation could go. Like, the quality of the conversation drastically increases when you're more prepared, right? So when you Google the website or you Google the company on your list, one of these things, what you're going to be looking for is simple. Do they have a current site that you can find? Yes or no. Is it any good? Yes or no. Does it look like it's been updated in a while? Yes or no. Are they using social media? Do they have social media icons on their website? Yes or no. Are they calling to action? On the homepage, is there some way for people to get in touch with them or to interact, or to, like I said, a call to action for their business? Yes or no. And in reality, all you need to do is look at it from your own perspective as a consumer, and just say, as a consumer, is this a website that I would want to shop at? Is this a service that I would want to buy? Is this a company that I would want to do business with? Yes or no? Does this website represent that company in a way that is meaningful? And your perspective as a consumer is really, in my opinion, the most valuable one. It is the one that's more valuable than any designer's perspective anyway, because in the end of the day, as a consumer, if you're not turned on by the content and by the layout and everything, then what's the point of having one at all, right? Real simple. So you can see here that I did that. So I went through the different ones. Brian Jodwin, new business, no site. Tom Murphy's, I scheduled an appointment. Nutmeg's had an Apple site. So Floor to Ceiling, new business, no site. This company was established. It was a very, very basic website. There was no social media. Tokyo was the menu was completely out of date. Quality Tax. This was interesting. It was newly redesigned, but it was not optimized. There was no social media, and the design was not great. Anna's Dry Cleaning. They recently relocated about less than a year ago, and they didn't have a website. And the funny thing is that I actually thought that they closed in my town. I was like, oh, Anna's went out of business. But in reality, they just went to a new location. But because I didn't see them in the same plaza I used to drop my dry cleaning off at, I just thought that they closed. So had they had a website, I mean, just think about all the other people that probably thought the same thing, and all of their existing recurring business that they probably had missed out on, right? So that's going to give me some good questions to talk to them with. Who's well connected? Mayor Cohen, great. Set up a dinner to talk to him. Tommy's from Murphy's. It was poor design. There was overflow. It was wicked out of date. It was all kinds of crazy. So this candidate research helped me to form some good opening lines, some good questions, so that I could ask them and get them to tell me. So for example, when I called Tokyo Asian Cuisine up, my opening line wasn't, hey, this is Sarah Rose Stack and blah, 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 blah. Your menu looks really, really out of date. I can fix that for you. That's me telling them something. What was more effective was for me to call up Tokyo and say, hi, this is Sarah Rose Stack. I order from you guys all the time, and I was just looking online, and I was wondering, is your menu current? Is your menu up to date? It's more, I know it's not up to date. I eat there all the time. And so what I saw on the website versus what I see in their restaurant, two totally different things. But what is it not more powerful for them to say, "Oh my gosh, our website is totally out of date. Our menu hasn't been updated for however long," right? Because at that point, they've owned they've owned the issue, right? So now I can say, "Oh, really? Wow, who does update your website? Why haven't you updated your menu? Have you thought about it?" And I can ask a couple of questions and just do a little bit of data mining, right? It's real simple so that now I can solve their problem instead of coming at them with what I think they need to be doing. The next thing is real simple, guys. You just contact the contacts. It's really, really easy. Again, I treat people like people. My number one rule is to be a person. So I always start off with a couple of basic social things. I transition into how's work and how's business. And then a little bit with business, just to add on to that, is a little bit about what about advertising, right? From advertising into how's your website doing. The most important thing to keep in mind here is that you have to ask these questions. If you keep the conversation to strictly social, they're not going to turn around and solicit you for a website sale. So you have to remember to transition the conversation with, strategic questions, right? Make sure you're asking them. They look kind of like this. Hey, how are things? How are the kids? How have you been? Right? What's new? And then you transition. How's business been? That is the most normal question that people ask each other all the time. And if you're talking to an employee, then you would say, how's work been, right? These are normal questions. And then you say something like, has a recession been hitting you guys, right? Oh, I hear that a lot these days. You don't have to say the recession. You can say whatever you want to say. But the reality is this. They're either going to say, oh my God, business has been flourishing. We can't even keep up. Or they're going to say business has been okay. Or they're going to say business has been terrible. Either way, I always follow up with, what are you doing to get your name out there? Or is your website helping? So if they say like, look, business has been so busy that we can't keep up, my response is not, well, how are you going to get more customers with a website? They just told me that they have too many customers, right? They can't keep up with it. My response then would be, wow, well, what are you guys doing to help manage that? Is your website supporting you at all? Is your website helping you to manage all of that influx of business? Right? I listen and then I respond appropriately. If they say business has been super slow, my next question will be, well, what are you guys doing to get your name out there? Do you guys have a website? Right? I'm transitioning the conversation based on what I hear. And that's not something that you can read a script for. That's just something that you have to be open to listening to. So when people are talking to you, you have to make sure that you're not just thinking about the next thing that you're going to say. You got to make sure that you're really focused on what they're saying so that the next thing that you do say is appropriate and socially normal, if that makes sense. Last little tip on data mining and listening. When you do ask the question, how's the website doing? It really is going to fall into one of these four responses. They're either going to say it's doing great, it's doing terribly, they don't have one, or they're working on it. Now, with each one of these, people fall into this rut where they they think, oh, well, they say the website's doing great, I guess they're not a candidate. Well, in reality, they may not just want to share that information with you right away. So then just a few more follow-up questions might actually lead you to identify a need, right? So just say something like, wow, that's really, really great. What do you like about your website? Or, what's so awesome about it? Tell me about it. And then they'll say, well, it's really, really great. So, well, is there anything that you wish you could change or that you wish it was doing that it's not doing? And then maybe there is and maybe there's not. But the point is you won't know unless you ask those questions, right? If they say the website is doing terribly, a lot of people will make the mistake and they will jump to try and set a website appointment right away. It's the worst thing you can do, right? You don't even know what problem you're solving right now. All you know is they have a bad website, but And what does that mean? It's that could mean any number of things, right? So you need to ask a few follow-up questions, right? So be specific. Oh, really? It's doing terribly. What's not working that, that you wish was working, or what is it not doing that you wish it was doing? Get them to tell you more specifically what's not doing well. These are just really great tips for setting highly qualified appointments rather than just setting appointments based on, loosely stated things like my website is terrible. Well, what does that mean? Right? It's your job to find out, what does that mean? If they say they don't have a website, again, don't just say, well, I can fix that. You can just ask a few more questions. Well, really, have you ever thought of having one? Have you ever had a website before? Ask a few more questions, or, what's prevented you from getting a website? Figure out what the issues are so that, again, when you're setting an appointment, it's way more qualified than you just going, I can fix that. Another great one is, I'm working on it. Again, more and more questions. Don't assume that just because they're working on the website that they're not a candidate for you. In reality, I'm working on it could mean, hey, this is on my to-do list this year, and I've been thinking about options. It doesn't mean that they're in a contract, right? But again, you'll never know that unless you ask a few more follow-up questions. The rule is this: regardless of what their response is, your job is to ask 2 to 3 more questions, identify a solid need that you can provide a solution for before you offer that appointment. That is going to lead you some nice quality and highly qualified appointments. So at that point, you're going to schedule the appointment, right? And you do that by, with simple sales as a referral approach. So I'm going to start with the referral approach because the majority of people on the contest are not web developers, and this is brand new for them. So this is what I recommend that you do. You make a simple referral. It's not an area that I specialize in, but the company I work with has an entire division that helps businesses like yours effectively leverage the internet. I'd be happy to set an appointment and have one of the product specialists take about 30 minutes to show you the technology, answer the questions that you have, and basically just see if it has any value for your business. What typically works best for you, mornings or afternoons, right? So a couple of things. You've just told them that you don't specialize in this. You've told them that, that you work with a really great company and that you know people. You're effectively making a referral the same way you would refer a good accountant or a good lawyer, right? And you're effectively saying, hey, I know people, I'm going to get you the VIP treatment, I'm going to make sure they take good care of you, right? That's a really, really normal and honest and organic thing to say. You're letting them know that even though you don't specialize in this, that really great people that do, and they will take good care of them and answer their questions. And then finally, I love this. You want to add, I always end with this: what works best for you, mornings or afternoons, Mondays or Tuesdays, that kind of a thing. Because if you ask them when they want to do the appointment, psychologically that's different than if they want to do the appointment. So I always end in that question. Now, in reality, your answer to this, what is it, to scheduling an appointment, how you're going to tie the appointment, needs to feel natural, honest, and comfortable for you. It's as simple as that. So if you do specialize in website stuff or in IT stuff or whatever, and you want to say something that's more along the lines of you're an account executive, that's fine. You want to come from an honest place. The more honest and true to yourself that you can be, the better you're going to communicate and the better results you're going to have. It's really, really that simple, you guys. So, and that's normal. So if somebody does specialize in the industry, it's not okay for them to say, hey, I don't specialize in this, right? Because people that they know, because we're dealing typically with warm markets, are going to read right through that. And so we want to make sure that we're communicating things that are true. So the majority of people in the Web Center program, and to be honest, the most successful people in the Web Center program don't specialize in websites. They don't specialize in design or IT or anything. And this approach works. Jeremy and I were doing a call today with Brett over at MA Web Centers. And it was so funny because we're talking about some new stuff that we're going to be rolling out in the next 6 months, and some new educational pieces. And Jeremy was cracking up. He goes, look, I can't think of anybody that knows our platform more in depth than I do, but I still use simple sales. It's just funny. So, it's just easy for him to edify the product specialist with the amount of time that he has available. So again, your answer needs to feel natural. It needs to be honest. It's about whether or not you can say it and believe it. If you believe it, they believe it. If you don't believe the words that are coming out of your mouth, neither will they. So those are just simple questions you can ask yourself when you're getting ready to talk to prospects. Now, Moving on, I want to talk about reporting results. So every single week, in order to earn points on this contest, you do need to submit your results via our website. So if you go to weBVolumecontest.com and you click on the activity report tab, this is what it looks like. So you're going to want to choose the correct week that you're in, and then you're going to fill all this out. Now, you don't earn points on every one of these areas, but we are measuring all of the activity so that when we come up with those coaching additional topics that are going to be based on what's going on for the week, that we have some data that we're basing that off of. So the first section is measuring contacts made and appointments that were set, right? This is activity that you put into motion. The second set of numbers that you enter in is going to measure completed activity. Out of the appointments that you set, how many of those plans were shown? How many times did you show a Web Center owner overview? How many times did you complete a website appointment? Now, just so you know, these acronyms, there is a key on the website, so you don't have to memorize what they mean. It's right there on the page. Below that, we're measuring results. How many sales were made? What did you sell it for? How many partners did you personally sponsor? How many, did you hit a pin level? How many tickets did you buy directly from corporate? Did you attend a WCT, etc.? Right? So these are the things you can earn points for. Now, just keep in mind, guys, that when you submit numbers here and you earn points here, we will be vetting all of the submissions. So you only want to report completed activity here, guys. So if you have a website sale that's supposed to go through this week and didn't go through, do not put it there. Just simply put a 0. It's not a big deal. One little thing about activity reports, guys. You need to be prepared for the fact that you may have a bad week or an off week. That's fine. I'm encouraging you right now from the get-go, go ahead and submit all 0s for that week. Because if you do that, it's in your face and it's going to motivate you to pick up your game the next week and keep going. Also, in doing this for several quarters in a row, I will tell you right now, the people that do take ownership of their bad weeks by submitting 0s, are the people that stay with it, are the people that grow and get better and eventually see the results. But if you choose not to put anything in for that week, your chances of falling off entirely for the entire contest period go up. So I want you to stay engaged. You need to stay in the game, whether it's an excellent week or whether it's a poor week. Either way, you want to make sure that you are submitting your results every single week and just owning it. Okay? So just going to finish up. Like I said, guys, I apologize that we went over, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got all the fundamentals and all the details down. So a couple of quick reminders before we end the session tonight. Number one, this is about small efforts each day having a compounding effect. This is not about going crazy. Look, if you want to go crazy and you want to knock it out of the park and win first place, that's great. But I'm encouraging everybody to first commit to the small efforts. If you commit to the small efforts, then that will put you on track to make big efforts. But you can't just run a marathon. You got to run a mile first. So let's start with running a mile this week and having a really healthy week 1 so that every single week we can just push ourselves a little bit more. Don't forget to report your results. If you don't report your results, you cannot be awarded points. One little tidbit about that. If you purchase tickets to the international convention, at any point, whether it was during the contest period or not, you will be awarded points for that. So this week when you submit your results, if you bought your tickets to the convention during the World Conference, go ahead and include them here. This is the only thing that we are counting activity outside of the contest period for. But yeah, any tickets purchased directly to corporate from conception through May 18th are counting toward the challenge. So make sure that you include those. Please stay engaged in our Facebook group every single day. When you have questions, post them there. First of all, you're going to get a ton of responses. Second of all, that question is probably a question that a lot of people have, so it's really valuable for everybody to see the questions and answers on a daily basis. Also, when you sell a website, go ahead and post it there as well or on Twitter and make sure you hashtag weBVolume, right? Refresh on your basics. If you're a brand new Web Center owner, I highly recommend you go to mawc411.com and you refresh on the sales basics, how to use the sales calendar. When I talked about what you should say to schedule an appointment, well, on that page I also have where is it? Here it is. If you go to mawc411.com/using the sales calendar, if you go there, then you'll be able to see how to physically schedule an appointment. I'm not going to be going over those kinds of things during our webinars. You saw the topics. They're more higher level topics, which are all geared toward expanding your network and giving you as many chances as possible to sell some websites, right? So make sure you're refreshing on your basics. Make sure you're asking questions and getting the answers that you need. Next week, our training topic is going to be, it's contractor season. So we're going to talk about contractors and home shows and advertisements that are coming in the mail right now for you to, use services and vans and all kinds of opportunities that you guys have to do a two-call approach successfully to meet more business owners and to sell more websites. And there's a high sense of urgency right now. Like I said, they're all in their big planning modes and they're all getting ready to get to their busy season. So this is the time to be talking to contractors. So I'm really, really excited about that topic for next week. So guys, thank you so much. Let's make week one an awesome, epic first week that we've ever done. Good luck to everybody on the contest, and I look forward to engaging with everybody throughout the week.